Hi everyone, it's John here from Bloem again. I've been invited to come out to see Pat at a store called Lifestyle Gardens in Latrobe, Tasmania. So I wanted to run through again some of the information about the actual products from Canna. And first of all, I'd like to go through the nutrients. So we have base nutrients which are specific to systems. And what I mean by that is in hydroponics you can have different systems like water recirculating, NFT channels, through perlites, clay, different types of media like that. We also have a specific cocoa growing nutrient, and on top of that we also have a specific nutrient for like a potting mix style, and that's called Canna Terra. So it's mainly like a sphagnum base perlite. It's also pre-fertilized, has a bit of white peat in there, so it holds a lot of water. So therefore, you don't have to frequently feed every day or water every day. You can get away with every 2 or 3 days in between that. So first of all, I'd like to discuss the cocoa nutrient. Now this one here, it is specific for cocoa growers, and over time, Canna was the first to market, and we actually invented cocoponics and first to bring into Australia. Now the product's specific because when growing in cocoa, the plant struggles to uptake CalMag or calcium magnesium. Now, one of the issues is with the capillary action in the cocoa fibre itself, it stops the plant from uptaking CalMag. So what Canna did when they went to the labs and did all the testing, they discovered that if you increase your rate of calcium magnesium, so for example in Canna Cocoa it's 36% calcium, 8% magnesium, you also add the humic and fulvic acids. Now, what happens is the calcium magnesium are micro, so they actually piggyback on the molecules of the humic and fulvic and go through and make that exchange, allowing the plant to readily absorb and uptake that. So that makes it better for growing in cocoa. If you use a standard nutrient, you may get deficiencies coming through. Now the next nutrient I'd like to talk about would be what we class as Canna Classic. Now this one's been around for a long time and originally made for actually growing with rockwool. Okay, so in Australia we've taken on rockwool, but it's also been used for recirculating water systems as well. So you're using it, for example, a rate of 2 to 3 mils of A and 2 to 3 mils of B per litre of water. So it is concentrated. Some of the benefits is, the solubility of the nutrients. They're very high-class mineral salts. So they mix well in your tanks or in your watering can if you want to do it. You can use it in rockwool systems, in recirculating systems. You can also use it, it's fantastic for growing in your veggie patch. So this will actually have buffers in the nutrient itself to help cater for those fluctuations, instead of adding lime and so forth in the veggies or in the actual soil itself. Now, the next one we want to look at is a product called Canna Aqua. This is fairly new for Canna. It's classed as pH perfect. Now, this product itself, pH perfect generally means it has buffers in there that will actually grab the pH, it will hold it for an extended period of time, and then when the pH drops, that's when it tells you to actually dump the tank. So for growers recirculating water systems, you can actually get a good 2 weeks out of this, or less frequent water change, as we say. And the buffering itself it locks it in and actually holds it. So that's what pH Perfect is. Fantastic new product from Canna. And that's this one here. So we have an A and a B in the Aqua Vega, A and a B in the Aqua Floors. You wouldn't use this on cocoa, for example. You would use it in your full water recirculating systems. Now, one of the other products that we do is a product called Canna Terra. So we talk about hydroponics, but we want to simplify hydroponics and allow everybody to have a chance at doing it. So we take away the systems, as in all the pumps, the timers and so forth, and we create a single part, no AB, single part nutrient, which is this one up here. So the single part, very easy to mix up in your watering can, just a hand feed, whether it's in the ground, on your veggie patch, in the pots and so forth, and we actually have a substrate or a grow media that suits that particular product. Now, you're using it at a rate of around 4 mils per litre, but your feeding schedule is basically halved compared to growing in cocoa. You would get away with 2 to 3 days in between feeds, which means you're actually saving water and you're actually saving fertiliser when you use it. Now that's the nutrients, and I'd like to now talk about a little bit about the actual additives. In the Canna range we have 4 additives only, so we don't have a lot. And a lot of the ingredients that you're looking for example, vitamin B, biostimulants, carbohydrates, sugars, all these sorts of things, factors are actually in a very few amount of canna additives. Now, first of all, we want to start with the progression of the plant. So if you're looking at starting to do seedlings and cuttings, for example, then you start with a product called Rhizotonic. The next step in the plant's phase is we look at a product when it establishes that root system, a product called Canazyme. Now, that product is an enzyme product, so similar to us, we have enzymes in our stomach. They utilise this to break down the dead root material and actually convert that to minerals and sugars back to the plant. Now, the third one, when the plant, for example, gets to like a flowering stage or fruiting, we use a product called Canna PK1314. And then the fourth one is a revolutionary product. It's reasonably new in Australia. Canna has had it for a few years now. And it's all about increasing the quality of your produce that you grow. So anything from aromas, flavours, essential oil production, alkaloids, translocation, all these factors which deliver sugars to the fruits, the conversion of that is created by Canna Boost Accelerator. Now that one is a metabolism booster. So I suppose if you think about it, the more you increase your metabolism, the more you can consume and the faster that conversion into energy. So for example, for a plant, it's the conversion from sugars in the leaves through to the actual fruit or the flowers that you're growing. Canna Boost Accelerator it's a non-harmful product. And what I mean by that is, which is very important, is today in the market we're used to a lot of PGRs or plant growth regulators. Now they are classed as pesticides, so whilst they generally stop the height or the growth of a plant and so forth, and it is used in horticulture and commercial markets, you have a choice when you come to buy these products where you can say no to PGRs and you can actually have an organic or a vegetable based product which is extremely healthy. You get all your fruitification coming through. There's nothing harmful, no hormones, no PGRs. So the product itself, you use it at the rate of 2 to 4 mils per litre, generally direct feeding when you're in the fruiting or flowering stage. The next product I want to talk about is the Canna PK1314. Now, this particular product, yes, we love the capsicum man because there's actually people that can grow massive fruits like pumpkins and so forth. Now, this product itself is PK1314 or phosphorus potassium 13-14%. So they're bloom minerals. So anything that fruits and flowers, you would use this product. Now it's highly soluble, or what we class as pharmaceutical grade. So it mixes very well with the water, so the plant gets very fast uptake in regards to that product. The rateage for that product is 1 to 2 mils per litre of water. So it is concentrated, and be careful of not going overboard because you can actually burn your plants. Now, the next product is one called Canazyme. Now, Canazyme is, as I said before, it's an enzyme product, but basically what happens is new roots form, old roots die. So we want an enzyme product to actually physically break down that dead root structure, and it converts it into minerals or sugars, and the plant actually uptakes that. So for example, if you, like my mum does, she has a lot of pot plants, go through a little bit of Canazyme, 2.5 mils to a litre of water. After a week or so, you'll actually see new shoots forming on the pot plants which are actually root bound. So it's a fantastic in soil, in pots, in hydroponic systems. It's very important to keep that clean root system, that good microbial activity happening in the root zone, and that makes you a healthier plant as well. Now, going back to the start is a product called Rhizotonic. Now this is absolutely by far the market leader. Now we have different products like seaweed extract and so forth in the market, which you're probably familiar with, certain names. This one is the absolute leader in the hydroponics market, but it's so good to use into the gardening market as well. So if you love doing cuttings, if you love doing germinating seedlings and so forth, propagation, this is the product. It's from the Norwegian sea kelp. So I don't know if you've seen documentaries, the actual cold oceans, the kelp grows inches in days. So that's the kind of results or the extract you're getting in this particular product. It has all the boosters, the vitamin Bs and so forth, and you don't need a wetting agent. You can actually foliar application this or direct feed and put it into your watering can. So that's all the additives. There is only 4 in the range of Canna. And next I'd like to have a look at some of these substrates, for example the Terra Professional that we have, which is a type of potting mix, and then we can look at a couple of tents and a couple of simple systems here at Lifestyle Gardens in Latrobe. So the next product we want to talk about is the Terra. So this is a single part nutrient, okay? Very easy to use. We have Terra Flores, for example, anything that fruits and flowers, and then we go to Terra Vega or Vega, anything that is in the vegetative state. Now you use this in conjunction with Terra Professional, which is a potting style mix that we have, and that contains things like sphagnum moss, white peat or coloured peat. It's a perlite mix as well, which helps with the aeration. And it's also pre-fertilised, so when you do, for example, your seedlings and cuttings or small plants that you do, you can put them in there and you don't have to water for the first 2 weeks because, or actually feed, sorry, because it's pre-programmed to actually deliver that to the plants. Now, usage rate is, you're looking at around about 2 to 4 mils per litre, 4 mils, 5 mils maximum. And again, it's a single part in your watering can. You can use it on the soil veggie patch, outdoors, in pots, and then we'll show you the specific one later on. To give you a bit of an idea of the different types of growing substrates that's out there for the systems, first of all, we want to look at the Terra. Now, Terra Professional, this one here you can see, it is primarily sphagnum moss. It's a perlite mix, as I said before. Now, water retention on this product is a lot. You generally irrigate it until you see it hit the bottom of the pot, like a bit of a small runoff, and then from there you just don't need to touch it anymore. So, you know, small watering can, a little bit of nutrient in there, give it a feed, and 3 days, depending on the weather, you know, obviously more when it's colder in winter, and you know, less and so forth in summer. Now, the next one we're looking at is a product called Cocoa. Now, this is Cocoa Coir, so you're probably already familiar with this type of product. It is the biggest selling substrate in the industry in Australia, that's for sure. It is expanding out into, you know, everyday gardening and so forth. The product's great, for example, for putting in garden beds, and it actually helps to break down clay as well. So it's a good little factor there, but fantastic for pot growing. You can do indoors, outdoors, anything like that. It does have a bit of a runoff that you have to push through each time you feed, but at the same time, it does retain the moisture, and you know, you can get away with that minimal runoff out the bottom. So it's a non-recirculating hydroponic substrate. Now, the next one in the line is what we call expanded clay. Now, Canada does an expanded clay, which we source from Europe, and it goes through these processing. So we're one of the only ones in the world that have an RHP standard, which is it's standard that gives to, you know, free of pathogens and weeds, and it's cleaned and so forth. We actually do more than that. We take it through the actual processing in Canna, so we pH buffer the walls. We actually make sure that it's free of you know, any foreign material, and it's washed, and so the salt levels in both the expanded clay and the Canna Cocoa, including the Terra, is very low, and we have one of the lowest salt levels of any grow substrate in the world. Now, one of the other common ones as well is a product called perlite, and this generally, these last two, the clay and the perlite, you can do majority through a recirculating system. So what I mean by that is you have a tank that you set up, you fill it up with your nutrients and everything, and then you have a pump in there, and then you actually pump the water through your system, whether it's in pots or whether it's in like a NFT, like a grow channels. And then from there, you actually recirculate that back through the tank, and then it's just a constant system like a circuit. So that's actually quite a popular way of growing as well, instead of the non-recirculating systems such as Terra and Canna Cocoa. So that's those main substrates, and let's take a look outside in a minute. But first of all, I'd like to say to everyone, we do have our grow schedules down here. Now, you can go through and you can do it on the website. So for example, w.canna.com.au, and you can do your own tailored grow schedule to what you need. But we also have the information flyers here as well. And you know, we're one of the first to actually invent grow schedules, and we have a mils per litre. But for the more technical side of things, people can actually use an EC readings, and they can use EC pens and so forth. So I think we'll go outside now and look at a couple other systems. Okay, everybody, we're at the back here, and I wanted to show you a couple of small systems that we got running here. Now, a few things. We've got a flood and drain system, we've got a recirculating system, and then also I'll show you a brief one with the NFT, and just a small pot system that we're doing with a special pot called the Anova pot. Now, first of all, we can see here what we're doing is we have a flood and drain. So obviously flooding it and then draining it, and it runs off the one tank down there. So we can use products such as Canna Aqua to actually get the best results, because it has, again, pH perfect, and it will hold that steady. And then obviously it delivers, things like seaweed extracts, humics and fulvics. So very, very good uptake from the plants. Now, also what we got running here under a light is we're doing some propagation. So these are the propagation where you have your cubes, and basically you can do from seeds, and you can see a few of them there coming up through, germinating, or you can actually do cuttings from your favourite plants, put them into the rock wool, and then you would do a soak, for example, with the rhizotonic. So 4 mils to a litre of water, you'd soak your cubes, put them in there, and then also you want to keep the humidity up at 80%. So in that way, all you need to do is just get a small little spray gun. Instead of putting water in there, put some more rhizotonic in, 3 to 4 mils into that spray gun, and then you just foliar spray to keep that mist up, and that will actually give you faster root strike and a much healthier and stronger plant at the start, which will give you a better finish. Now, what we're looking at here is we've got a Nova pot. So it works as a basic reservoir down the bottom, but you have a drainage in the center. Now, one way the Terra Professional works is you have the drainage in the center there, but you can also create a small reservoir. Now, the Terra Professional is fantastic as a wicking media. So as it dries from the top, it's going to pull from the bottom and actually make that, that circular rotation with the moisture. And we can see down there, we've also got, you can look at using moisture meters and so forth, and very simple pot for growing your herbs, anything you want in there, tomatoes, strawberries, whatever. And this is the actual Terra Professional mix. And this one here, we have a 50 litre bag. This is a small 25 litre bag, which we're running a promotion. You may want to come down and see Pat, see if he's got any left for you. And very simple, you don't have to wash it or anything like that. So you put straight into the pot and you can start growing straight away. Okay, so what we can see in here is there's another tent, different type of tent, more, a bit larger, and we can put a larger system in here. So this one is a recirculating system, all right? A little bit different to the flood and drain, whereas actually you're doing a time pump up and then you're draining through. This one here, you can run constantly as a recirculating system. So you can run that through things like, Canna Aqua clay pebbles, expanded clay. You can do things like perlite and so forth as well. So very easy to actually plant into there, the plants themselves. It runs through, the pump takes care of it. A very, very simple system and easy to use. The next one we'll look at is just over here, which is an NFT system. All right, everyone, I've gone through and spoke about many easy systems. Now, it can be as hard as you want as well. So we're talking about everyday growers can come in and use hydroponics products, but it's not purely hydroponics with all the systems, the timers, and the pumps and all that stuff. So what we're looking at here is something that I suppose people with a bit of passion and a bit of time on their hands can actually get into, which is an NFT system, or nutrient film technique. Now, the basics of this is you have a tank that runs underneath, so it controls all your nutrients and everything that you put in there, and then it pumps up, and then it actually runs through the channel. Okay, so it's slightly elevated to get that runoff, runs through the channel, and basically it's just the roots, as the plant grows, settles into a nutrient stream. So there's no grow media. So no terra, no cocoa, no clay, for example. So that runs through there and then comes out the end, and then it's recirculated back through the tank. So it's a complete recirculating system. Now, the beauty of this is you can maneuver, you can add as many trays as you want, you can adjust the height and everything. So it's very good for people with a lot of time on their hands, and the results from this system are extremely rewarding as well. It takes a little bit more know-how and technique, as in regards to controlling your EC levels or electroconductivity, the strength of your nutrients, or your pH levels, for example, where you don't want to be too high, which is alkaline, or too low, which is acidic. But people have the passion to grow, and that's Australia's favourite pastime, is growing or tending to your gardens. This makes complete sense, for people as young or retirees or whatever. So it's a great little system, and having it up this high, you won't have to bend down or anything like that, which takes away, I suppose, from traditional garden beds or soil growing. However, it depends on your taste and whether you want something different to learn and possibly something exciting.